This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, FDA approved for over 20 years. So, talk to your specialist to see if Botox Cosmetic is right for you.
For full prescribing information, including boxed warning, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
Remember to ask for Botox Cosmetic by name. To see for yourself and learn more, visit BotoxCosmetic.com. That's BotoxCosmetic.com.
When unprecedented times are all the time, it's time to start walking the talk with PwC. Leaders like you turn to PwC to see and stay ahead. Upskill your workforce, use intelligent automation, and transform big ideas into breakthrough outcomes. Explore the human-led, tech-powered solutions that help you thrive. It's all part of PwC. Learn more at pwc.com.
You are now listening to the Dynasty Rewind.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind. I'm your host, Michael Bauer, the best in the business. Once again, back in business, joined as always by my faithful co-host, Nate, the Professor Christian. Nate, hello and welcome back.
We're back. We're back. I love it. We got some more trade values today.
Yes.
I love it.
Before we get into it, can I say something to you, Nate?
Go ahead.
Kadarius Toney.
No longer on an NFL team as of recording.
Is he done?
No, he's not done because Treadwell keeps popping up. So Kadarius Toney is going to keep popping up.
When was
at least another 2 years?
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Reagor keeps getting work. I don't.
Your first round wide receiver, you get at least a training camp invite for your 6-7 years.
Laquan Treadwell is on the Colts, it says.
See?
He's played in 2 games and he has nada to show for it.
First round draft capital sticks with you, man.
Yeah. Hey, career high in 2018 with Minnesota, 35 receptions, 302 yards, and 1 touchdown. Man,
this is why I'm so adamant about, the difference between day 2 running backs and day 3 running backs. Draft capital matters to NFL teams more than it matters to you.
Keep in mind, in the offseason, we will be doing a day 3 running back study. I think that's a really good summary. You know what? I don't want to hear it. I'll put a lot of the legwork in for you, and then it's fine. That's going to be a post-draft pod, though. Like after rookie season, when we're in the summer, and there's not as much going on in certain parts of the summer, that would be a good time to dive back into that, and then it's kind of some strategy about that. So, Nate, you know what? You get a few months to dread that podcast. So
great.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Let's talk about some trade values. Things are going on. And look, a lot of people are going to hop in the comments and say, oh, my league's trade deadline is closed. And not everybody's is. Some people just let it rip right through the season. But the thing is, if you want to look to get your hands on some of these guys when things open back up, you need to know what they cost, because the values now, they're going to change week to week, but some of them might stay the same or be close to it. So, Nate, why don't you go ahead and start it out with everybody's favorite wide receiver in the YouTube comments?
Yeah, we got to talk about him. Drake London, wide receiver for the Falcons. Currently the wide receiver 10 on Keep Trade Cut. He's 23 years old. Quietly having a great season. He's the wide receiver 8 on the season. Wide receiver 17 in points per game. But how are we feeling on Drake London? Because we got some quarterback questions. Kirk Cousins hasn't played very well as of late. And I don't know how I feel about Michael Penix. Is he the future down there? How long is Kirk down there? Also, Drake London hasn't played quite as well as the past couple weeks. He hasn't had 100 yards since week 5.
Yeah.
He also had 6 touchdowns in the first 9 games of the season. Hasn't had a single touchdown in the last 4 games. All losses for the Falcons, in fact. So, Drake London, overall a great season, but maybe slowing down a little bit, but still 23 years old. So we're really excited about it. Let's look at some of these values, Mike. The first one I got for you, Amon-Ra St. Brown for Drake London and Brandon Ayuk.
Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown. Also, I want to say I don't think Kirk Cousins has thrown a touchdown pass in those 4 games either. I believe I saw a stat.
Ooh, I haven't paid too much close attention to the Falcons, to be honest. I know that Kirk threw a bunch of interceptions the other week, though.
But check out Drake London's targets the last 4 games. Though. He's still getting targets 10, 16, 7, and 13.
Yep. Lots of targets for Drake.
I'll check in on Kirky while you're giving me this one.
I'm also going to go. I'm going to rest St. Brown there. The next one I got here, Puka Nacua for Drake London and Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I still want Puka Nacua there. And I was right. Kirk Cousins has not thrown a touchdown pass since November 3rd. He threw 3 against the Cowboys.
A month ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I still want Puka Nacua there just because he could outscore Drake London and Sam Laporta on any given week.
It's true. I actually do lean the Drake London and Laporta side if you need a tight end in this situation, and that's what you're looking to do is to downgrade to Drake London and pick up Sam Laporta on the side. That's a pretty good trade, I think.
Yeah.
And then last one here, Rome Odunze and Rachaad White for Drake London.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Drake London side on this one. You're going to get a more targeted wide receiver right now. I don't want to say consistent just because the Falcons offense as a whole hasn't been very consistent. And then Rachaad White on top of that. Rachaad White's still quietly having a good season as well. Not like what he was last year, but he's still extremely startable on a weekly basis.
Yep, absolutely agree. I'll be on the same side. I'll take Drake London here. So,
right. Cool.
Mike, tell me about your wide receiver not nearly having as good of a season.
No, because I don't know what to do. He was kind of, they called him Diontae for a while, but this is Baltimore Ravens wide receiver Diontae Johnson. Nate, you were so excited and I was so excited for you. His wide receiver 83 on Keep Trade Cut. He is 28, but he's going to be a free agent after this season. He was suspended 1 game for conduct detrimental to the team. Nate, maybe you have some better insight. I guess John Harbaugh wanted him to go back in against the Eagles 2 weeks ago, and he didn't want to, or I don't know.
Yeah, he just straight up refused to get in the game, which seems ironic because he was upset that he wasn't involved. So, yeah.
I get it.
Maybe there is some smoke with the whole Diontae having some locker room issues.
No, I get it because I have a 5-year-old at home, so I understand how children think. It's just one of those things. That's you know what I'm saying. But look, they have Zay Flowers, they have Mark Andrews, but another stud wide receiver would really help this team in the postseason, in the regular season. You would think getting traded from Carolina to Baltimore, he would be absolutely ecstatic.
You would think.
He's averaging 7.8 fantasy points per game. That's going to keep going lower because before he got traded, okay, in 7 games, 30 receptions, 357 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The Panthers not playing as good then. After the trade, in 4 games, Nate, 1 catch for 6 yards on 5 targets.
It's been tough.
It's hard to acclimate to a new offense as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
In the middle of the season.
It can be. Also, I mean, I get it. I get it a little bit. They traded for him, and they still put him behind Nelson Aguilar and, Tylan Wallace. So I get it. Deontay's a little upset. He thinks he deserves more, but it's the middle of the season. Those guys have been in the system for years now. They're trying to win games, not score stats, so.
You win on Sunday throughout the week. That's all I could say. You got to come into practice. What does it cost to get him? If you want to take a shot, take a flyer, he's going to be free agent. He's going to pick his destination next year. What does it look like to get Diontae right now? 25 4th.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that because I'm a Diontae fan.
Yeah, my trade's courtesy of Fantasy Calc. Your trade's, again, courtesy of Dynasty Daddy, right?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Dontavian Wicks.
I've really soured on Diontae, unfortunately, because I would have taken all of these before. I'm actually, I don't really like Wicks either, though. We can't catch the ball. But I got to go Wicks right now because Diontae is just falling.
I mean, he's caught 25 passes this year, so he's doing something. And then Jerry Jeudy for Diontae Johnson in a 25-second. This is a tale of two teams going in completely different directions. I'm going to take the Jerry Jeudy side, though.
Yep, same.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Nate, we teased it on the last pod. Who do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, let's talk about Jayden Reed. Currently wide receiver 22 on Keep Trade Cut. He is 24 years old. He's the wide receiver 18 on the season. Wide receiver 38, though, in points per game. And in this last game against Detroit, he had 1 target and 0 catches, was not involved in the offensive game plan.
I don't get it.
He has 3 games over 100 yards, but he also has 7 games, Mike, under 50 yards. And if we said 50 or less yards, it would be 8 games because he had a game with 50 yards. So he is really hot and cold this year. In the last 4 games, he has only 8 catches for 73 yards in the last 4 games. Now, the only thing keeping him afloat in fantasy football is the fact he has 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games. But outside of that touchdown luck, 8 catches for 73 yards. That is 2 catches a game for less than 20 yards. So we are really not in a great place right now with Jayden Reed. What are we going to do with him? I still believe in him long-term because I love what we saw his rookie season, the beginning of this year. I loved him as a prospect, but things aren't working right this second for that Packers offense. So looking at the value, let's see how we feel about it. First up, a straight swap with Cooper Kupp.
I'm okay paying that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm competing right now, I want Cooper Kupp. He's been playing really well, but yeah, I would swap that out if I'm not contending this year.
Yeah, if I'm not contending, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice, straight up.
Also okay with that. Rashee Rice has the LCL injury, I've been told, Nate. It's going to take a little bit for him to come back firing on all cylinders, I believe. And Jayden Reed, despite the fact that he's not having the year we expected him, has been really inconsistent. He still has a chance to completely smash last year's receiving totals. He's 100 yards off his receiving yardage, 2 receiving touchdowns off of his receiving touchdown total, and just 1 off of his rushing touchdown total from last year. So he still has a chance with some time left in the season. So yeah, I'm okay with that one as well.
Yeah, I also ranked Jayden Reed ahead of Rashee Rice in the last episode. A little bit of that is I'm a little concerned about Rashee Rice and his target volume now that Xavier Worthy's looking a little bit better. Right. But I will go Jayden Reed here. But I'll tell you what, if you gave me really just about it, like anything on top of Rashee Rice and I wasn't competing, I'd probably be willing to make that move.
Agreed.
Last one I have here for you, Jayden Reed. We're moving him or buying him. The other side here is Hollywood Brown and Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jayden Reed there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and Hollywood Brown's hurt. Brandon Ayuk also hurt. I know Hollywood Brown could be back for the playoffs, but the fantasy season's over when the NFL playoffs are around, so I'm okay with that.
I'm a big Brandon Ayuk fan. I probably have Ayuk and Reed somewhat similar dynasty long-term rankings. So if I'm a rebuilding team, I'm okay with moving Reed for Brandon Ayuk and Hollywood Brown.
Okay, perfect. Now let's talk about a quarterback. Let's talk about a quarterback of my favorite team because I don't know how to value this guy right now. That's Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, quarterback 4 on Keep Trade Cut. He is 26, got some time left, plenty of tread left on the tires, right, Nate?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, though, the Saquon effect is in full effect because he has 6 games this year with under 200 yards passing. Yet he's a touchdown machine somehow. 16 passing touchdowns and 13 rushing touchdowns.
That's crazy.
After their week 5 bye week, he's extremely limited his turnovers. He had a problem with it the first 4 weeks of the season. Bye week came along. And there's a lot of people speculation. Philadelphia media is he's being a little bit gun shy, doesn't want to turn the ball over, but gotta sling it a little bit there, Jalen. And quarterback 4 in the season, 22.1 fantasy points per game. Thing is, this is probably the healthiest I've seen him look in quite a few years now. He's running really well. Arm looks good. A couple times he just sits back there and fires it in the flat to A.J. Brown or Dallas Goedert, who's also, he's on IR right now, so not to him. Maybe Grant Calcaterra, who I had to play this week, got his first career touchdown just for me because I had to play him. And look, I do want to say, when I look at these values, I made sure that all of these trades are super flex trades. So go ahead, put in the comments down below that trade would never happen in my league because it happened in somebody's leagues. 225 first.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Here's an interesting one. Jayden Daniels for Jalen Hurts and a 25 third.
That is an interesting one.
It is. I do think they get Jayden Daniels more firepower in the offense next year at the wide receiver position. At least I hope they do. Although I don't know how that's going to look. This wide receiver class coming in is not that great. Unless they find a way to get Tet McMillan, which seems unlikely. They're going to be too good to get him, I think, where they finish in the draft.
Yeah, so I don't have, just so you know, I don't have any Jalen Hurts shares across my rosters. So I also don't have a great valuation of him because I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Jalen Hurts, to be quite honest. I think because of what we've already seen, I'm probably going to lean Hurts in the third.
Yeah.
If this was Daniels in a third for Hurts, I would probably lead the Daniels side. I'm going to probably take whichever side I get a little bit one.
Okay, fair enough. And then all of these players were traded for Jalen Hurts. Okay. Caleb Williams, Chris Godwin, J.K. Dobbins, and a 26th first.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I don't think the value is bad, especially if you're a contending team.
Yeah.
Caleb hasn't been that helpful. And of course, Godwin and Dobbins are on IR. So while the value long-term doesn't really line up for me because I'm a believer in Caleb still, I'm okay with this trade. Absolutely. If you're a contending team.
All right. Very good.
This episode is brought to you by PNC Bank, who believes some things in life should be boring, like banking, because boring is steady, pragmatic, responsible. You don't want your bank to be cool or sexy. Sexy is for red carpets, not banks. That's why PNC Bank strives to be boring with your money, so you can be happily fulfilled with your life. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. Brilliantly boring since 1865 is a service mark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
All right, we're back. Who is the next player you want to get a value on?
All right, let's talk about Khalil Shakir. Currently the wide receiver 39 on Keep Trade Cut. He is 24 years old. He's the wide receiver 22 on the season, wide receiver 34 in points per game. And so far in the season, 65 catches, 735 yards, and 3 touchdowns. This past week against the Rams in the shootout between the Rams and the Bills, he had 5 receptions for 106 yards and 1 touchdown, including one play where he had the yak wreck really go up because he ran for about 50 yards, I think, after the catch and scored the touchdown running past the 2 safeties there. It brings the question here, he's going to be a top 24 wide receiver this season. And this is a guy that was drafted in the 4th round, kind of gave him some Amon-Ra St. Brown vibes. I don't think he has quite that ceiling as much as I love Khalil Shakir. But is he undervalued as the wide receiver 39 on Keep Trade Cut? I think so, Mike. Let's look at the values here through Dynasty Daddy. A 1st-round pick for Khalil Shakir and a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, getting that. If it was the straight up first for Shakir, I would say no. But to get that 3rd back on top of it, I'm okay with that. I'm really coming around on Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, same. And I think we're probably at the point of the season where I wish that we could tell you if these were, mid, early, late first. They don't put that on Dynasty Daddy, unfortunately. I'm assuming they probably don't do that on Fantasy Calc yet. But we usually end up getting that once we get into the off season.
Yeah.
They usually have the capability. But until then, I'm going to, just in my evaluation, say this should be a late first for Khalil Shakir in a third.
Oddly enough, on Fantasy Calc, when you type in a player to search for trades, you can type in a draft pick. It will give you 25 like mid first or late first, but it doesn't come up on the trades itself. But you can't search for a 25 early first, oddly enough.
Interesting.
I don't know. So what do you got next?
Next, straight up swap with Jameson Williams.
Here's my Jameson Williams. I'll take Khalil Shakir. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm on the same side as you. And then George Pickens for Rico Dowdle and Khalil Shakir.
Sure. I know you're still probably looking to move off of George Pickens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like Shakir better than I like George Pickens too.
And to be fair, Pickens has been good. Nothing against Pickens. I just don't foresee the Steelers really giving us an elite wide receiver piece, though. Like I said, I mean, Pickens has been good this year. I just don't know what next year looks like for the Steelers. Though at this point, I'm going to assume they probably re-sign Russell Wilson.
I'm going to make a prediction that George Pickens does not catch a single pass this week.
That also is going to be true.
Because he's not playing. Nate, let's talk about my favorite position now. That is the tight end. And this is Las Vegas Raiders tight end Michael Mayer, tight end 29 and keep trade cut. He's 23 years old, still plenty young. Against the Buccaneers, 7 receptions, 68 yards, no touchdowns. Might have had to catch a pass or two from Desmond Ridder. Man, those Raiders quarterbacks are dropping like flies, Nate. Gardner Minshew goes down. No, Aiden O'Connell goes down. Here comes Desmond Ridder to save his pension, I guess. In that game, he was tied for receptions. Jacoby Myers also had 7. Second on the team in targets with 9. Myers had 10. And I do want to know, is this and Brock Bowers sustainable? Or are we looking for next year? Maybe they move on from Michael Mayer to get some more draft capital. They have Brock Bowers. Maybe they move on. Maybe he would, benefit from a change of scenery. He did miss some time this season for a personal matter. I think it was 4 games. I couldn't find out exactly what it was. His family reached out and says it was something he dealt with before. I don't know exactly what that was, but it was just listed as a personal matter. 3.7 fantasy points per game. He's tight end 56. Not great, but what are we buying him here for? You know what I mean? Like, what are we hoping out of him? Let's find out what it cost in a half-point tight end premium, 25 third.
Yeah, I'm okay with this because I still believe in Michael Mayer. I don't know what it's going to look like exactly because it's hard to be a good tight end when you have Brock Bowers playing across from you. But I do still believe in Michael Mayer, whether it's with the Raiders or somewhere else.
Let's not forget, in the 2023 class, he was a lot of times considered the consensus tight end 1.
Yeah, absolutely he was.
Xavier Legette for Michael Mayer in a 25 second, and this is also a half-point tight end premium.
Yeah, I'm good with trading Xavier Legette for a second-round pick with a little bit extra. So that being Michael Mayer, I'm happy with that.
All right, last one. Zach Ertz and Adam Thielen, so some old dogs here. For Michael Mayer, a 25 fourth and a 25 fifth. This is a full-point tight end premium.
Yeah, I think that, this is the classic 2 teams heading in 2 different directions. I like both sides here, depending on your team need.
I mean, right now, I would lean the Zach Ertz, Adam Thielen side, but week 1 of next year, you might.
Yeah, I'm not really going to want the Zach Ertz, Adam Thielen side. As much as I probably would have said that last year, I don't know how many more years we can get out of both of them.
Yet here we are. Nate, who do you got next?
All right, next we're having a pretty good running back season this year, and one of the guys near the top is Josh Jacobs, currently RB11 on Keep Trade Cut, 26 years old. He is the RB7 on the season, RB8 in points per game. His stats are as follows: 239 carries, 1,053 yards, and 11 touchdowns on the ground. He also has 27 receptions, 260 yards, and a touchdown through the air. What are we doing to move for Josh Jacobs, who's signed there, not through just next season, but the season after that, and is performing really, really well with the Green Bay Packers? Would you move a first-round pick for Josh Jacobs? We'll call it a late first-round pick, Mike. We'll call it like the 110-ish.
If it's late, then yes.
Okay. Once you get to like the 106, you're thinking no?
Then I'd like something a little bit back on top of it.
Well, at that point, you're probably not going to be you're not in the playoffs anymore. So You don't need Josh Jacobs.
Never mind.
All right, next up, how about CMC and a second-round pick for Josh Jacobs? You're making the push.
To make that push, if you think that's going to give you the edge to win the championship, I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but
I'm not fully out on CMC. I think some people maybe overcorrected and they were worried about him, being a career-ending injury or him not coming back next year or something. I'm not that worried on CMC. So value-wise, I do still like the CMC side here, but I understand if you're trying to win this year, Josh Jacobs is going to help you a lot more than CMC or a second-round pick.
Well, like they say, scared money don't make money.
That's true.
Once. What do you got next?
Next up, I got Adonai Mitchell and DeAndre Swift for Josh Jacobs.
I'm okay with that. Swift playing better. AD Mitchell inconsistent in his rookie season so far, so I'm okay with this trade.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm okay with it as well. Very okay with it. And then I threw one more in here just because I saw it after I filled my first three out, and I wanted to mention it. Straight up swap, Jalen Waddle.
It's hard to go across positions like that when you're doing a straight up swap. Waddle's been inconsistent this season as well, as has Tyreek Hill. I think I'm okay with this one. If this is the push I need to make and I'm really stacked at wide receiver, sure.
All right. I'm gonna say the same thing. If I in a vacuum, I'm going to lean Jalen Waddle just because the wide receiver position, though that hasn't been as helpful this year to build around. I'm going to lean Waddle, but I'm totally fine with making the move across the position to go get Josh Jacobs if you need it.
All right, perfect. Got one more player for you here, Nate. It's Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. He's wide receiver 8. Keep trade cut. He's only 22. In a 30-18 loss to the Seattle Seahawks, he had 4 catches for 49 yards, no touchdowns. We've seen flashes. I think we expected more from him at this point. At least everybody else did, considering that, he was either your wide receiver 1 or 2, depending on how you view league neighbors. He's averaging 11.6 fantasy points per game. So he'd be a really good wide receiver 3 on your team right now. We think he's going to be better than that long term.
4 maybe almost.
Yeah. He's wide receiver 28 on the season. So he is a wide receiver 2, though. And I still feel like he's a generational talent. 3. Sorry. Math is not. You know what? If it's a 16-team league, Nate, he's a wide receiver.
There you go. There you go.
I'll take that technical.
Or 15-team league. Actually, a 14-team league, he's a fringe wide receiver, too.
That is true. Are there 15-team leagues?
No. I mean, there might be one out there, and they have some weird scheduling, but you got to have an even number of teams.
Yeah. I still feel he's a generational talent, but can we buy low? Let's find out. What does he cost? Amon-Ra St. Brown from Marvin Harrison Jr. in a 25 second.
No. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Give me Amon-Ra. Puka Nacua and a 25 second for Marvin Harrison Jr. in a 25 first.
No, give me Puka.
Yeah, give me the Puka side. And in a super flex league, Tua and Brian Robinson for Marvin Harrison Jr.
I can go either way here. The value of quarterback, I still have my worries about going and acquiring Tua because of the injury history. So if I'm trying to get a quarterback, I'm probably not going after Tua, to be quite honest. So I'm going to go with the Marvin Harrison Jr. side here. But I think value-wise, this is very fair.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So, Nate, before we head out, let's talk about your Devy player to watch last week in the Big Ten championship game. You were saying keep your eye out for Penn State tight end Tyler Warren. He did not disappoint. 7 catches for 84 yards, no touchdowns across the board, 2 runs for 2 yards. They did lose 37-45. Still, the fact that Penn State scored 37 points, pretty happy about that. I wasn't expecting them to win the game. I was hoping that they would. He did have a pretty big drop in the game, though, which is not like him at all. So kind of interesting there. And hey, I've been telling you guys about Tez Johnson for a while now. He had his coming out party on a national stage. 11 catches of 181 yards and a touchdown. This dude is electric, and he just refuses to take hits. I think he's going to be special at the next level. But Nate, you don't have anybody for this week. It's just the Army-Navy game.
Yeah, and I'll be quite honest, as much as I love Army-Navy, I have other things to do on Saturday.
I'll probably catch up on it a little bit here and there. If you do not like the forward pass, this is the game for you, ladies and gents.
Hey, both these teams were in the top 25 this year, so this is probably the best year to watch Army-Navy, to be honest.
It's cool. How do you think Air Force feels about watching the Army-Navy game every year? They're like, come on, man.
You know, they probably think they're just the best anyway.
Wait. We need a Space Force Academy.
I'm going to say the same thing. We need Space Force, man.
I'm sorry. I was so excited. So one day, 100 years from now, people are going to be like, Army, Navy, screw that. Air Force, Space Force.
Oh, yeah. That's what we need.
They're going to fly a space shuttle over the stadium instead
of play the game on an aircraft carrier.
It'd be great. It's going to be at the International Space Station or something like that. That would be fantastic. If you want to hear more cheerful banter like that, please check out Rewind After Dark. That is the podcast Nate and I are about to go do. How do you do that? Patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind. Check it out 1 week for free. That is on me. Give us a 5-star review. Subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Buy some merch. I'm wearing a beautiful shirt designed by our very own Derek. Check that out. It's beautiful. I love it. It's so comfortable. But until next time, everybody, for Nate, I'm Mike. Thank you for listening.